Welcome to the best hour of their day podcast with your hosts, Jason Fernandez
and me, Jason Ackerman. With more than 20 years in the business,
as both coaches and affiliate owners,
our passion is to help create world-class affiliates
and coaches by building
better boxes. Welcome to
the best hour of your day. 8. We're live. We're live. We're live.
We're not live.
We're
For
live.
The record. However,
this is live. This is live. What we're doing right now, it's live. It's just not live to everybody else.
Most box owners fly by the seat of their pants. Where does that expression come from?
If we had Cody on the show, we could find that out quickly.
I told Cody he needs to start coming on the show.
I admittedly do not know where that phrase comes from. But
well, if you're listening and you know, please fill us in. But most box owners fly by the seat of their pants with everything at the box, but specifically with just planning ahead.
I mean, yes, just as a statement of fact, it is the reactive nature of a small business owner, and why most people never actually get out of the rat race, because their inability to both plan, prioritize, and execute within a well-designed strategy. And that is one of the things that, if you want to be good at any sort of business, whether it's affiliate ownership or not, that is something that has to be addressed, which is, I actually just made a post on Instagram today about how do I prioritize my time? So what are the number one issues we see with affiliate owners, right? It's like money, prioritization, and then people, right? If you're like, what's the 3 major pain points for affiliates? Like money, prioritization of time, and people. We've talked about money extensively. We do shows regularly with Nick. We've talked about people, and really what we're going to talk about today is how do you prioritize your time? And that starts with the 30,000 foot level, which is what we're going to be really kind of diving into today. But that drives your decision-making as far as priorities when you get down into the quarterly, monthly, weekly, even daily tasks, because the number of gym owners, even some that are doing pretty well, just find themselves just being reactive to things.
Yeah. And like you said, you could take this broad view and apply this to everything. We're going to dig in mostly to the calendar.
Well, it's what we all live by, right? It has little to do with the calendar. And the misconception here, I think, a lot of times is that you need to plan a specific period forward. I mean, like, you got to plan the whole year. And you can do that. I tell people, I'm like, at least start with a quarter. Just start with, it doesn't have to be the full year. Start with the quarter. And even if you're like, I do want to plan the full year, but I want to get started in January. Well, don't wait. That's just an excuse to not plan right now. So plan right now until 12 months from now. And now you've planned a full year. And
that's a typical, like, I have a goal, but I'll start Monday. Or start today. And
start today.
It could be 12 months from today, or it can be 2 months plus next year, or whatever that looks like. But yeah, and I think what you said is accurate. I think the closer in time it is, the more detailed you have to be. But sure, if you want to look a year in advance, plug in the non-negotiables, right? Hey, we're going to run the open. Hey, we do Murph. Hey, holiday party. Hey, time off. Like, just like we do for the company. We put the big hitters in there, and then we work backwards.
Yeah, and most people, I fully empathize with the reality that is being stuck in the day-to-day that is the affiliate, right? It's a real thing. If you're coaching 5-6 classes a day, it's really hard to do this. But understand, if you want to get out of that, if you want to stop hugging the cactus, like most affiliate owners are doing all the time, then you have to become a planner. Right. And I was actually on a call, like a mindset call today with a mindset coach about this, and just talking about different things. And we were having a discussion about the identity/behavior comes before the outcome, where most people think it's the opposite. So like, hey, like, like when I get a lot of money, then I'll get better at budgeting it. It's like, no. That's not how it works. You start the behaviors of somebody who has a lot of money, or who wants to have a lot of money, budgeting, saving, spending appropriately, whatever. And then because you do that, you start to have more money. And this is the same thing with regard to planning and putting strategic roadmaps in place, which is you're like, well, I'm not a good planner. And I'm like, well, nobody's a good planner when if you never planned any shit before, right? Like you have to start trying to plan, and then therefore that identity shift or that behavior will change, and then you will become a planner, right? Like
Yeah, and that's a really so many affiliate owners need to re-listen to what you just said, because it would be no different than your member coming in and being like, you know, I don't I don't work out, I'm not fit. And it's like, well, let's be someone that works out and you will
yeah,
become a fitter person.
yeah.
And it's
And
those
it's
goes back to what we talk about in the mindset, where it's like it's the stories we tell ourselves. I'm not good at math, I'm not good with money. Nutrition's hard for me. Like, yeah, cool.
I'm not a
Make it
planner. I'm like, well,
yeah.
be a planner.
Well, yeah,
Not
change that.
not even don't even be a good planner. Just be a planner. Right? Like I would prefer if you went from I'm not a planner to I'm a shitty planner, and then I'm an okay planner, and then I'm a good planner to like I'm a fucking fantastic planner. Right? But
Yeah.
it starts with that first one, which is like I'm a shitty planner. I was like better than not being a planner at all.
And that's how all, in this scenario, good planners become good planners, by being shitty planners first.
It's like anything. It's how you progress doing coaching, you're running a business, planning, communicating, all of it. It requires practice. But the the so the question is, how do you do this? Like, what if I'm planning, right? So let's just say that I'm going to go, we won't even go a full year. Let's go 90 days into the future. Cause I like to have a line item on in our, most of our staff meetings at CrossFit Rife, which is a 30, 60, 90. These are the things coming up in 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days. And most people could very quickly identify one, if not two, big ticket items that are coming up in the next 90 days, whether it's a holiday closure, an event, um, like a competition, a holiday, an apparel rollout, something. But it wouldn't be hard for you to figure out like, hey, what are the 2 to 3 big items in the next 90 days? What are they? If you're using some of the tactics that we teach, bring a friend week should be in the next roughly 90 days. What are we doing in order to make that happen? So I think there is tremendous value in just figuring out like what is probably already on the calendar that you're not currently planning for, right? So like forget planning new shit. Just like what is coming that you're just not paying attention to. So just look at the calendar. Oh, I have this coming up, right? So like we'll use it is October of 2023 right now. We'll use like Thanksgiving is coming up, so you're gonna have holiday closures, and Christmas is coming up. Like, are you having? Let's assume people are putting on some sort of holiday party.
And
The New Year, so
and
the
Hanukkah.
Marine Corps and Hanukkah, if you care about that,
Closed for 8 days.
and Kwanzaa.
So
So
let me ask you this. Let me your affiliate. You look at this last 2 months or so. Out of those holidays, what happens at Rife during those holidays and events?
I can pull up the calendar. I'll tell you I know for sure we'll be closed for certain, and we're changing some of the closing protocols for that to give the staff more time off.
You're gonna let them
Uh,
off on Thanksgiving this year?
no, they're going to work on Thanksgiving.
Bring your
No,
turkey in,
yeah,
Cassidy.
yeah. Listen, you can eat at work.
Hey, by the way, shout out Fern, Cassidy, Lindsay, all passed that level 4. Nice
We
job.
did. We went 3 for 4, and my goal is 6. So I want 6 coaches to hold the level 4 credential in the next, we'll call it 12, maybe 18 months.
Dude,
Um,
is that the most level 4s at an affiliate?
3,
Yeah.
I have no idea.
I th-
We can
Roots
just
has,
make it up. We can
I
just
think
make it up
you're
right now.
I mean, I would
Yes,
guess it
facts.
is. Roots has Nicole and Jenny. Um, that's the only one I can think of with more. Best
It
Hour has
it
one.
might be. My goal is to for sure have the most, which is like 6. I don't think anybody's going to beat 6, but
Well, 3 is the
um,
most. 6 is definitely the most.
I yes, that's how math works.
All right, so
So
I assume you're closing on Thanksgiving, but you do have 24-hour access.
well, that's why we're changing some of the protocol, the closing protocols. But I do know, I think one of the coaches is going to come in and run like a Thanksgiving morning workout because people do like that. Um, So that's one. We have, what else am I looking at? We have a level 2 we're going to be hosting in early December. We have the holiday party coming up December 2nd. And then we're going to be closed for those days for Christmas and New Year's Day.
Closing on New Year's Day.
Yes.
That one's a 50-50 in my opinion. I think obviously it's a holiday. People like to, it's a Monday. People are going to be super
Well, we have
motivated.
hybrid AF, so they can come in if they want to.
Cool. And are you going to program anything special for that, or when they come in on when you're closed, is it free reign?
That'll be up to Cassidy. That's not a decision I care to make. That's whatever he wants to do is fine.
I like that. I like that. I'm too high up these days at CrossFit Rife to make these decisions.
It's just not necessary that I make it. It doesn't
I'd
matter.
like for you to take that same mentality to best hour.
Then nothing will get done. Your job sure as shit won't get done. So it's looking through because there's so many things that get attached to these, which is if you use the holiday party for an example, right? So we need RSVPs to be closed by a certain day. We needed to make sure that we got like a food truck that's going to do like a special menu. We hired a bartender. We had to make sure that we booked the DJ and the party company that's going to do all the decorating and everything. Something else, I can't remember what else, but we had to do all of those things. And if we're not looking out far enough in advance, we wouldn't even be able to book any of those people. Like they would all be like, yeah, we're full, dude. It's December. Get out of here. And so we booked those weeks ago. It's October right now. We booked those, and that's December 2nd.
That's the right time frame. Like you said, people have family obligations, their work obligations, and the gym is often a third priority when it comes to holiday parties. So, well, one, something you just brushed past, your date makes sense, right? You're not like doing it Christmas weekend. You're doing it the first weekend in December before these parties start to steamroll, and you're getting ahead of everyone else. So they've already committed themselves to being at your party if another one presents itself.
Well, think about any event that you care about, right? So anybody whatever you're into, if it's the Super Bowl, if it's the NBA championships, if it's a big Hanukkah bash that you go to because you guys get nuts for Hanukkah.
Oh, well, you've sent me enough of the memes of Jews dancing to know what happens at Hanukkah.
Those are intense, dude. I still want an invite. Those are.
Oh yeah, you can't handle that. You'll hurt your knees.
I've been squatting a lot. I'm good. If it's a competition at the gym, most of these, the success or the hype around them is entirely predicated on how you promote it. So if I don't plan it, then it is virtually impossible to promote it, much less promote it well. And then the more organized I get, the easier the events get into the future. So as I start to plan things, again, use the holiday party as an example. This was probably the easiest it's ever been. So I had a handful of people who were in the kind of the party planning committee. And then we had 3 years prior budget that we had like really outlined that were, well, I'm like, okay, it's going to be about this much money. I was like, so when you get the quotes, this is kind of what we're looking for. We went a little bit over because we moved the date from previous years. Okay, great. I had already budgeted to cover a huge portion of it already. So everything was really simple. They were just like, all right, go back out to the same company. They're like, we booked it. Great. So now the whole thing is stress-free now versus like stressing me out. And it's going to go off great. So we have a repeat event where we have historical data on it. We have all of the systems in place to plan it again. And then because I have that, now I can hand that off to people who want to plan it anyway. And they're like, can we make this decision? I'm like, yes, just tell me who I need to make deposits to is how this works now.
Well, and
that's it.
What you're suggesting is, for affiliate owners out there, if this is your first year running a holiday party, anniversary party, any event for that matter, it gets significantly easier year after year. It becomes almost plug and play. Let's make some improvements. We can talk about what happens after. No different than on the best hour team. after the mastermind's over, what do? We meet,
Right.
discuss the things that went well, discuss the things that need to improve, note it down somewhere. So for the next one, we do even better.
Well, the whole game here is to make it easy, right? So events, if events stress you out, well, anytime I run a first event, there's a ton of unknowns there. If you run a second event, it should be significantly. If you run the same event for the third or fourth year and it's still stressing you out, that's a planning issue.
Yeah.
That is for sure a planning
Or
issue.
you're just running an event that is unnecessary or way too much
Correct.
work. Yeah.
Correct. But the point is, it should get easier and easier and easier. I mean, here's all the points of contacts that we need. Here's the previous year's budget, so we know reasonably what it's going to
Here's
cost.
who we used last year for the different.
Correct. Right. Here's all the different vendors. Here's how we send out the RSVPs. Here's when we want the RSVPs to be done. Here's last year's communication. Just change it up a little bit, change the graphics. We're going to have a different theme than we did last year. And it's all done. Like, it's been the most low stress event that I've probably ever put on. And that's the same thing when we've run competitions at the gym. We run the same competition 3-4 years in a row. And I haven't even been at the last two. Like, the team's just like, yeah, we got it. Get out of here. Like, they run
Well,
it to the minute.
and you have someone on your team, and you certainly have a member that wants to do this. It's no
For
different
sure.
than
I mean, maybe let's assume you don't have a team, but I for sure there are at least 1 to 2 people that would love to participate in planning whatever an event would be. And that's the easy part, right? So I don't want to spend too much time on like planning events because that's, but like, and more so just like, what's the value in planning strategically on your calendar, right? So whether it's a quarter out, 3 months out, 6 months out, a year, it's all the same, right? Um, but what are those events, right? So we've talked about this before. PVBs, perceived value builders, right? I know people in the facility like one or more of 3 things. They like the social aspect of it. They like training or things that are, directly adjacent to training. So a weightlifting workshop, a nutrition challenge, a recovery education seminar, or like all of these things, they like it. And then they like stuff like they like the facility. You're going to revamp the bathrooms. You're going to buy air runners. You're going to put a recovery lounge in, like whatever. So if I know I have all of those things, well, that's kind of how I start to outline the year. And I'm like, well, I'm going to put this one here, and then I'm going to leapfrog it with another one, and I'm going to leapfrog it with another one, and then leapfrog it with another one. And that way I'm not doing the same type of event all the way around. More importantly, when I do this, my calendar starts to fill up. Don't fill your calendar all the way up, by the way. Like
well, other
6
things are going
things
to
max.
come about.
Well, 6 things max, but like if you do these events well, you're going to be tired. So that's how you do the PVBs. And this is not about PVBs, but
Hey,
so
give us
let's
a
say that,
couple of specific examples because I know we throw it out there like social training things, but like let's give 2 or 3 examples of each.
okay, so socials would be like you have a holiday party and then you have your gym anniversary. That's 2. Okay. Uh, Training could be a multitude of things. That could be we run a competition, or it could be we do a big event for Murph. Okay. Um, and then for the facility, we could be like, hey, we do every year we do a full revamp of the gym. I don't mean deep clean. You should clean your fucking gym. I mean, like, every year you do a consolidation of equipment and a reorganization of the facility in order to buy back square footage, or you do some sort of upgrade to the facility where you, spend a nominal amount of money and paint the bathrooms and put in and spruce up the amenities. So those would all be examples of PVBs, um, which I want to have on the calendar. Right, that way I can plan for them and I can promote them, and then people will value them more because there was a lead up to it. So um, those are the ones. Now, this is the most important part of this whole thing. Okay. And I was talking about this at the Canada workshop because they're like, hey, we were talking about something, and they were like, hey, where do I put this thing on the calendar? And I said, I don't know. I want to see. So this is like saying, hey, what should I program next week? I'm like, I don't know. What did you program last week?
Yeah.
Like there should be, we want to think critically about this. So an example I would give would say, hey, listen, don't just, the first year you do it, you're just going to have to randomly put some shit on the calendar, right? So a lot of gym owners are not aware. They don't have good numbers or metrics, or they don't track anything. So some of it is just put it on the calendar and then understand that like you are now a planner. You were not before, you're now a planner. And now myself 12 months from now will thank me today. That's what I'm looking for. That's always what I'm looking for. What does Fern in 2024 want Fern in 2023 to do? That's what I'm fucking doing. Right. My future self wants to thank my present self. So that's what I'm always trying to chase at this point. So what I would do if I'm like, hey, at what point in the year did I have significant headaches, right? Whether I had either a downturn in membership or whatever it might be. And this is what we describe as beating the dips. If I look back in any CRM, push press, Wodify, Zen Planner, whatever, and you just look at one metric and just like, what did revenue look like throughout the year? That's it. And you took only that and be like, oh, it looks like we had a dip in June, and looks like we had a dip in December. I'm like, okay, what are you going to do about it? And people are like, I don't know. I'm like, well, do something. Don't just let it happen again next year. Because if I went further back into 2022 and 2021, it probably says the same shit. So looking at the calendar, I now start to strategically place events around those times of year, either before, preferably before, or during, depending on the time of year and depending on the event, in order to buffer those times of year when I might have a loss of revenue or there might be a lull in the gym. So don't be a victim. If you know when that thing is going to happen and then you just choose to do nothing about it and let it happen to you again, that's your fault. So as affiliate owners, the purpose of planning is to avoid or even enhance future events, right? I want to avoid a future event or I want to enhance a future event. That is the whole purpose of planning, right? So if I'm driving my car, it's like driving a car. Well, if I know what's going on that road, or I know there's going to be traffic down that road, well, I'm going to avoid it. Why would I do that? It's going to cause me pain and suffering. I'm going to be mad and be cursing at people, road rage, the whole thing. Or if I know that this route gets me there faster and I can stop by my friend's house on the way there, well, then I'm going to take that route. So this is when you put all the planning together, like where would be the best place to put that event? Not necessarily just for attendance, but looking at how would it enhance the business? Would combining bring a friend week along with something like a member appreciation week that goes right into a holiday party or an anniversary party, would that enhance the whole thing? And would that maybe happen to fall right 1 month before that you would normally have some sort of like lull or historically low membership or high cancellations? Well, let's have higher than average sales leading into that versus just running flat and then driving into the ditch. So when you're planning, be a little bit more critical about it when you're planning. Like, hey, how could I use this calendar to create leverage that I previously did not have? Right? Like, how am I going to do this better so that I get a better outcome from it? Apparel, right? Run a big apparel order on a month that you might have low revenue. If you've got good margins and you're going to, be down $2,000 that month, if you run a good apparel order, you can profit $2,000 on that.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of things. I mean, whether it's apparel or a new supplement or a nutrition challenge, there's plenty of things you can do to mitigate those slower months. And what you're really suggesting is it's planning, but these events are great, but they're even better when they play a role in retention, sales, and average client value.
Well, it should check all the boxes, and when you're planning an event, you don't want to do too many events, right? So there's your core events, your pillar events. You should have 2, maybe 3 of those a year, but that's 1 a quarter, right? If you're doing a ton of planning, you're probably planning 2 months in advance for that, promoting it at least 6 weeks in advance, and then remember, people leave an affiliate for one of 2 reasons. That's it. Right? It's just like my mom was a social worker for 40 something years, right? 45 years, primarily did a ton of marriage counseling for years. And she was like, listen, people get divorced for one of 2. After we ask enough questions, People get divorced for one of two reasons: sex or money. That's it. Outside of that, like it's a catastrophic event or something. There was a significant life altering event. Outside of those things, we ask enough questions as one of those two things.
And you're suggesting people leave boxes because of sex?
With you, yes. The
Every time
now,
I've had sex, yes, somebody leaves.
yeah, yeah. The luckily your wife is up next, so I'll be
Just don't have
expecting.
sex anymore. That's why.
Yeah, yeah. The and in the gym, they either leave because they don't like the people or the vibe, right? Or they don't like the programming, right? They're either like they don't get a good vibe when they walk into the affiliate, or these workouts are not fun or appealing to them. They don't feel like they're getting what they came for, whether it's a workout or whether they just think it's fun or whatever. So I would make sure that the events can check both of those boxes. But for sure, if we're talking about social events, I can create an atmosphere that people like, that everybody likes, right? Like that is a thing. Like unless they just don't want to go to an event, at which point, like, who cares?
Yeah, and you'll have members that are just like, cool, I'm here to work out. I don't go to the parties, or I don't
Yeah,
go to the.
we had on a small group call the other day. Somebody's just like, I just got these people that just don't want to go to the events. I'm like, who cares?
Yeah, I would.
Everybody else,
No.
everybody else wants to go to the event. Just have fun with those people.
Yeah, and I will throw out there like parties specifically tend to be like nighttime. Like mix it up. Like do an afternoon barbecue after Murph or
Who is it?
live sports.
I think Zia at Counterculture. She's out in San Diego. I think she was telling me she did or is going to. I can't remember if they did it or they're going to. But she runs a big gym, right? I think they have like 300 members there, and she was like, "Yeah, we're gonna do like a brunch." I was like, "Oh, that's unique." She's like, "So they rented out a restaurant, and that's what they're gonna do." I'm like, "That's great, right?" Same thing, right? Probably based on some previous experience. She's like, "Hey, we're gonna try something different because of X."
Yeah,
Okay, well that means it was a logical decision that you put behind that. But the hidden gem in all of this is, by planning, helps you stop being reactive. It also helps you to say no to things. And this is what affiliate owners are horrendous at, is they say yes to everything. And if you say yes to everything, I can assure you have no priorities, at which point you will get nothing done and your affiliate will suffer. So when you have the plan, you get to drive the priorities. And those priorities should be things that enhance both the business and the client's experience. And when I have that plan in place, it's easy for me to say no when people have good ideas about things, which I'm not saying that you can't say yes to events, but let's be very candid. Most people say yes to events out of guilt. And you don't have to. It's much easier to be like, "Hey, can we do an event on this weekend?" I'm like, "Oh, we actually already have an event on that weekend. Sorry."
yeah. Or we have an event coming up, or we have a similar event in
Right.
3 months. But
Right.
because
So
your
that's
members
the
will bring to you no shortage of events they want to have.
I mean, there's just always, again, the world is just full of good idea fairies, all with good intentions, all with good intentions. And it doesn't matter, but those are not your priorities. So remember, box owners, like when you plan, you get to determine the priorities, and those priorities will benefit you and the members. And the reason your members are bringing you these good ideas is because they want to help. Okay. So have them help you with your priorities rather than bringing you their priorities. And having this plan will aid that significantly.
You know, doing these events like we discussed, retention, sales, but average client value is an easy one to bump up with these events. If you're doing training events and you're charging for it, if you're doing, programming cycles like an 8 week improve your 1 mile run time leading up to Murph, like lots of different events you can be plugging in there that increase the average client value.
Yeah, and remember, it's not always about increasing average client value. ACV is a thing, right? Now, I actually would caution everybody to just always be thinking about increasing ACV. Like it is a metric of health. It is not the only metric, right? That'd be like if I look at your biometrics and all you're trying to do is drive your cholesterol number down. You're like, I got to drive it down, 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 down. Well, eventually you're gonna die. you need cholesterol, right? Like it's not that you
Or
can't have
you've
any
driven it down at the
expense of other
detriment to
things,
something
right?
else, right?
Right. And there does exist a real scenario, which is which we know a lot of gyms that do this, that if all you're doing is driving ACV, if that's your only metric that you're worried about, that's not going to pan out for you. Like rest assured, like people will get hip to that real quick, that you're just trying to nickel and dime people. So it can drive ACV, but let's speak to the larger point here, which is if you put on good events, people have no problem paying for them, right? So people are like, I can't charge $50 a ticket. I'm like, what do you mean you can't charge? If you're providing food and drink, alcoholic or not, for 35 to $50 a person, that is the cheapest night out that person is going to have all year.
Oh, 10 years ago when we would have our massive parties, and it was like going to, the prom or a formal in college, where it was like 75, $100 a head. But, food, drinks, prizes, awards, like no one cared because it was so awesome.
It's fun. And so I think people get weirded out by like charging for that, but and I'm not saying I'm not saying you should do it to make money, but you should do it to put on a good time. And when you put on a good event, you're like, hey, we're charging for it. We're either going to rent this place out or we're going to revamp the gym or whatever. It's more valuable that way because it's going to be a better event. Now, if you just want to pay for it, I'm not suggesting that you can't do that either. I'm speaking to the people who are afraid to charge.
Well, and sure, even that party, but I mean, $10,000 for, by the time you pay for it all, like, sure, if you can afford it, go for it. We have plenty of clients that can afford that and do it. But I also think there's no harm in
No, not
charging
at
a
all. There's
membership.
none. There's none at all. And so, again, all of this is to, and I put this up, similar. I made this post last week about, how do you pass the level 4, right? Well, you walk into the gym with intent, meaning like, hey, what did you do today? What'd you work on today? Like, oh, I just coached the 4. Okay. What did you work on when you were coaching the 4? Or did you just willy nilly coach the 4? Now, if you are good enough to you just walk into classes and you're just hammering and having a good time, great. But if you are somebody who is most people listening to this podcast, who's trying to climb the ladder, who wants level 2, level 3, level 4, you must walk into the gym and coach with intention. Just like if you're a gym who wants to be level 1, level 2, level 3 inside of Affiliate U, you must walk into your affiliate with intention every single day. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to hit those metrics. You're not going to intentionally create your project sequence in order to create systems, in order to hand things off, in order to create efficiency so that you can grow your team and drive more revenue and provide better service. None of those things will happen if you walk in and you break out your fire extinguisher and just fucking put out fires all day. That's not how you're going to grow a successful affiliate, right? It's sure as shit not how you're going to grow a 7-figure affiliate if you want to do that. Somebody who's doing that is walking in with intention, and they're like, these are the projects that we're working on. Nothing else is gonna get in the way of those. And that's the way that you can do that. And that's what I've shifted to over the past year. We do rolling 30-day projects.
Well, that's one of the things we hear about the most from our clients, right? Like systems, operations, but also that unwavering commitment to one thing or two, just more focus, saying no to more, prioritizing. I was just watching a testimonial from Boucher earlier, and that's exactly, he's going on year 3 with us, Affiliate U, and he's like, Boucher, he's a squirrel chasing, the shiniest object, and now
He's
he's
not low energy.
yeah, but now he's laser focused. And so many of our affiliates are doing that, where, like you said, cool, thanks for the idea. This is what we're doing. And you said 30-day rolling projects, where so many affiliate owners get paralyzed when it comes to a project, rather than just like, cool, we got 30 days to do this. What do I need to do tomorrow to move this thing forward?
And I think a lot of times there's so many different components to planning, right? So largely we've been talking about like the happenings of the gym, right? Which I think are important. I think they're far less important than the mechanics of the gym. And I think planning should largely consist of those, which is like, hey, what is our plan to improve the efficacy with which this machine runs, right? How do we improve internal communications? That's a project. How do we improve scheduling? That's a project. How do we improve coach development? That's a project. How do we improve our sales process and how and what our close percentage looks like? That is a process. How do we improve our budgeting process so that we can spend more on equipment and maintenance? Like that is a project. Rolling out things like the FSA, HSA, or like that is a project that needs to get buttoned up, and so that we can appropriately communicate it so that people can take advantage of it. Those are the projects that I'm far more interested in. Like a lot of people right now are looking, many people, new people that are coming in are like, hey, I need to do a full scrub of my pricing suite, or I need to do a change to my billing cycle or merchant fees or whatever, but like something that involves the pricing structure and money and how they charge their clients. A lot of them are looking at January 1. That is a project that probably needed to start last month in order to communicate it in November to give you a long enough runway to deal with any potential fallout, to negotiate anything that might need to be negotiated, to communicate with whoever you need to communicate with in a non-emotional, urgent state. That's a project. That is one of my projects for next month. And I have 2 other projects that I will roll out. And the whole purpose of all of this is if you want to make your affiliate better, I should be intentionally working on it. And let's just make a number. How would you complete 36 projects inside of your gym that were operations based? You would do 3 a month. Now, let's come to reality and be like, let's assume that some percentage of those won't happen due to it takes too long. It ends up not working out the way you thought it would. Insert I got busy, whatever. Okay. So take out 10% of those. 4. Okay. So now you're at 32. Shit, take out 20%. Now you're at 20,
you can't
28.
You bit off more than you can chew on that math.
Right? 20%, right? Like you're looking at 28, right? Like would any gym owner who's listening to this be upset that you made 28 iterations to your business in a calendar year? 28.
That's amazing.
I can, and that's kind of the goal, right? Is like, I should never be looking at the same affiliate year over year. Now, whether you can physically see that or not, it is kind of not the point, but I should never be looking at the same affiliate, meaning like it should look or operate different than it did the year before.
So should the owner.
Correct. Right. And this is how you go about doing that, right?
Old,
just like, what are those?
It's an old riddle. Does the same owner ever walk into the same affiliate? No. Because
I feel like the podcast just took a downturn. The
spiritual.
But that's the point, right? Is like if you want to make those changes, I have to be intentional about that. And you can start with the things that cause you the most pain, or you can start with root cause. Like if what is that pain that you're currently dealing with? What is it a result of? Okay, well then start there. Like that's your project moving forward, which means anything that comes to you that is not a legit emergency, building's on fire, somebody's going to be in danger, you just say no. Be like, that's not in the project pipeline. And if you want to actually get these done, I recommend you tell your team about them. Be like, hey, these are the projects on deck.
And they know, holds you accountable. I would tell everyone, go Google Eisenhower Matrix. Find out
urgent versus important.
Yeah, urgent, important. We used to keep it on the whiteboard. Kevin knows, our sales guy on Best Hour used to be on the whiteboard. Hey, where's it belong up there? Oh, not urgent, not important. Cool. Let's not work on it right now.
Right. And then you prefer to work on far fewer urgent things and way more important things. In a perfect world, everything you'd be working on would fall in the important category, and almost nothing would be urgent. You will have things that will fall in the urgent. And this is where having the plan and you can rack and stack your priorities or your projects based on the urgent thing that came in the door to you. So again, this is like triage for your affiliate, right? Which is what we do. And this is how we assess the 10 general skills inside of Affiliate U. When we give that and we're like, well, this is triage. I can figure out what do I need to address first. And it might be the thing with the lowest score, but it might not be the thing with the lowest score. It might be the thing. There might be something that also has a low score, but is actually root cause of whatever else you're dealing with.
Yeah, real world application, someone squatting on their toes with a rounded back. 90% of coaches jump to that rounded back, and it's like, hey, maybe they can't lift their chest till their weight's in their heels. But you never
Right.
know. But you have to be willing to test and try. And speaking of everything you just mentioned, 3.0, Affiliate U 3.0 has all of this built in. Ferdin, you've built, this is not hyperbole. You have built.
You don't even know what hyperbole means.
I almost said it wrong.
Yeah.
It's my new word of the
Hyperbole.
day. It was
Hyperbole.
it's the epitome of hyperbole.
Ooh, nice.
So Affiliate U 3.0 has all of these assessments built in, so we can more accurately pinpoint what we need to work on. Like you said, that may very well be the weakness. It may be a completely different root cause over here, but we're going to get your gym better and we're going to be able to track it. We've got a level system within Best Hour now to see you advance from level 1, 2, 3, and ultimately 4. Can we give a shout out? Can we give a shout out to the first level 4?
I have no problem with it. I mean, she deserves it. She's
You give
crushing.
her the
And
shout out. You give it to her.
yeah, so Allison at Odin, they're up in they're up in like Maryland. They're probably like 3 hours from me. And yeah, she's the first kind of official level 4 in there. And that's not an easy metric to hit, by the way. Like when we made that, the whole purpose of having level 4 in there is it needs to be like the level 4 in training. Like it needs to be something that is like hard to achieve. Like, and if you
Like the
look at that,
original, like the level 2, you mean, that became the level 4?
no, I mean like this is an actual credential. The which makes
Hey,
me
how
the
was my
only level
promo?
4. This just makes me the only level 4 on this call.
How was my
I
promo
need to.
with my
I
belt?
mean,
Shout
it was
out to you.
appropriate. Still
Okay.
need to make that meme of me with the my face over the Ultimate Warrior running into the ring.
We'll get
Um,
it. We'll get it. But shout out to
the
Allison,
yeah.
Odin CrossFit.
But the whole goal, because we've all lived this, is how do I compress the time from start to outcome, right? We talk about this as like TTV, right? Time to value, right? If I'm looking at time to value in a client, what would that be? Well, we look at that a lot. Like, how can I compress time to value for an affiliate owner? Like, well, I would assess much better.
Mhm.
And then now it's not just about the assessment. Like, this is contextual coaching, which is why we're better at this than anybody in the world. Is I can use all that information and I can contextualize it because I know what it is people are dealing with in the affiliate, right? And that's why we do this better than anybody else, because I know that thing might be a low score, but I also know that that's not where we should start, right? I know because based on the other information that I got for you and what you're telling me and your time allocation, that the lowest hanging fruit, highest return activity would be here versus here. And that's how we start to speed things up over time, in addition to giving more tools, more access, all that other stuff. But this goes into planning, which is part of the issue. Is sometimes you just need somebody else to make your plan because somebody else knows what's going on. And they're like, hey, I actually understand this better than you do. So you can fumble around for a while, or I can just tell you how to do it right now.
And if you're interested in learning more about Affiliate U, sign up now because prices go up January 2024.
Yeah, I mean, and we do have a 10-day money back guarantee on that. We will work with you if you are interested until you get that return. And it won't take that long, to be honest with you. But all of this is based on creating a higher functioning, bigger, better affiliate than you're currently operating, so that you can impact more people. And again, that, like, what we do is like help you craft and execute on that plan. And then you can take that plan and you can layer on your own flavor to it when you go into the affiliate, but you can pass that on to your team, pass it on to your clients, and then have this be fun again, because we know that a lot of people really want to have successful affiliates. And right now that's not the life that they're living. They're living that quiet life of desperation. They're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. And I have no idea how to do that. If that's you, just reach out. Okay. And no obligation, set up a call, but we'd love to help you, because the more healthier affiliates we have worldwide, the more people do CrossFit. And I don't think anybody thinks that's a bad thing.
It's a great thing.
Thanks for checking out this episode of the Best Hour of Their Day podcast. We appreciate you listening and choosing to have us help you in your passion for coaching and affiliate ownership. You can find more episodes just like this on all podcast platforms. If you're interested in learning more, you can reach out to us on any social media platforms, or you can visit www.besthouroftheirday.com to book a call. If you found this episode helpful for you, please share it so that we can help other coaches and affiliate owners to help build a bigger and stronger CrossFit community. Thanks for listening.